What's up, world, and welcome back to another chapter of my life. If you've been following the story for a few years, you know exactly what video I am filming, but also if you have the brains enough to read the title, you know exactly what I am filming. And today, that is my top 10 movies of 2022. But things are changing because it was taking a really long time to do the top 10, and I just wanted to create a shorter video. So this year is my first year that I'm only doing my top 5, but I will put the rest of the lower half of the top 10 in the description box below so you can still read that. Also, I do not just do movies that were premiered in 2022. I have movies from all different sorts of eras, but they were new to me. Let's get started with number 5, which is Dune. When this movie was originally announced and the trailer came out, I was automatically stoked because of the cast alone. If you don't know, Timothée Chalamet is my favorite actor of all time. Zendaya is pretty cool as well. Oscar Isaac was in it. And that one chick that's in Mission Impossible. And that one Hawaiian actor. But at this moment I can't think of his name, but he's excellent. Before I watched this movie, I was very adamant about reading the book. I don't really know why, but I was. And I did finish it, and I did really enjoy it. The book just kind of throws you into the world with no information about it. There's no like immediate world building. You kind of just have to figure out as you read, which is a really cool, unique aspect of Frank Herbert's writing. And the film kind of does the exact same thing. It follows right along with the book and just throws you in, but it's still very easy to catch on how the world works and the different languages that are involved. And this was the most accurate book to film adaptation that I have ever seen, I'm pretty sure. But I think the accuracy of it made this movie not as good to me, because there are parts in the book that, while they're key moments, they're just not as important. And there were a couple of scenes in the film that I think made it a lot slower. Especially in this type of film, you want things to be very fast-paced and you want the story to move along. So there are a couple of scenes I definitely think could have been cut and the film would have been just as great. All in all, it was a great feat, and I am very much looking forward to part 2 that is actually being premiered this year. Okay, number 4. This one's an oldie, but a goodie. And it's When Harry Met Sally. For years, I avoided this film, but this past fall, I was in the mood for a seasonal film, a love story. And the answer to that was When Harry Met Sally. And it really fit my perfect feel-good movie vibe. Fall, in a big city, enemies to friends to lovers. Very much so like, it's gonna come to me, I'm just buffering. You've got mail. When I was writing this description of what I wanted to say, I thought really long and hard about why I liked this movie so much and what was that particular reason behind it. But I really couldn't come up with one. Yeah, but I don't really think I need a big reason. I think this movie is enjoyable, and people who have watched it, well, most people who have watched it would probably agree, even if they would never watch it again. I think the speech that Billy Crystal says to Meg Ryan at the end of this film is beautiful.
I love that you get cold when it's 71 degrees out. I love that it takes you an hour and a half to order a sandwich. I love that you get a little crinkle above your nose when you're looking at me like I'm nuts.
And I don't know who wrote the script, but well done. Number 3 is Sign. Besides my number 1 on this list, most shocking movie to me of 2022. But I don't think anyone expected this movie about, well, centered on kind of aliens coming down to Earth to destroy the planet, going so in depth into trauma and the existence of God. Biggest curveball ever. Never would have thought that. And if my dad would have said something about that, I may have been more interested in the first place. I am very impressed with M. Night Shyamalan and his directing skills. But also, I don't know who wrote this plot or anything like that, but seriously, well done. I also just not fell in love, but enjoyed Joaquin Phoenix's performance as Meryl. He portrayed him really well, but also, I don't laugh a lot in movies, His character definitely made me laugh, and it just hit me right where it needed to in order to get me to laugh. This is another movie. The ending of this movie is perfection, and there's nothing that I would change about it in the slightest. I can't believe I'm already at 2. This is crazy. Usually this would take way longer. Okay. Number 2 is Singin' in the Rain. This was the first movie that I watched in 2022. If you don't know, my favorite Christmas movie is White Christmas. And I love old movies with big dance numbers and singing. Even if the actor or actress isn't particularly known for singing, I usually enjoy them. And it always just makes me smile from like ear to ear. And this one didn't disappoint in any way, shape, or form. And so just having come off of Christmas, I really wanted to watch something old, and it was on HBO Max. I think it's still on HBO Max, so you can definitely go and watch it. I have wanted to start watching like older movies for a long time, but sometimes like they're just really, really slow. But I begin to appreciate them a lot more than I used to like 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, the love story in this is beautiful. On top of that, you add music and dancing. I'm a musical theater kid at heart. I'm sorry. I'm not Actually, no, I'm not apologizing for it. You like what you like, okay? Wow, this is weird. I didn't have much to say about that one, and I'm really sorry. But again, I watched it at the beginning of the year, so I'd have to rewatch it to be reminded of all the little reasons why I liked it so much. But we're going to move on to number 1. So, without further ado, drumroll. I don't think this is shocking. Hold on, let me do it again. Top Gun Maverick. I have so many words. So let's begin, shall we? Like I said earlier, Signs was shocking. I didn't think I would like it, so my expectations were lowered. My expectations were even lower for Top Gun Maverick. I watched Top Gun, the original, probably when I was 15. It was the first time I watched it. My parents were really excited about showing it to me, especially my mom, because she loves Tom Cruise. And I really had no expectations at all. You know, I knew it was like kind of a classic for the 80s, but it disappointed me so much. Because I expected there to be so much more action and like very side story romance, but I felt like the ratio of action to romance was like the same. I felt like it was 50-50, and I wanted more like a 80-20. And so I was a little disappointed, because when you hear a movie that has the word gun in a title, you think action. So anyways, it just kind of was upsetting to me at the time I watched it. So for this movie, I was just like, no, I'm not watching that. But then my pastor's wife was like, I bought you a ticket, so you're coming with us. And so I went, and because my expectations were so low, I came out there extremely happy and surprised at the product that was Top Gun Maverick. First of all, I don't think anyone would disagree that this plot was so much better than the previous one. But also, this movie had just the perfect amount of nostalgia for those who really liked the first movie, but also had a lot, and I mean a lot, of freshness to it. But I'm also the type of person who loves the preparation that goes into movies. And this movie had an insane amount of preparation. Like, please, if you have not, go and watch behind the scenes. I'm not a crier. I cry very rarely. And this movie didn't, like, instigate me crying. It just got me teary-eyed. And I'm doing a spoiler alert if you haven't seen this movie, so fast forward, like, 15 seconds. The most tear-jerking moment was Iceman's funeral for me. But I can't imagine how hard that must be to lose someone who just understands the difficulty and the pain that you have been through. That is a relationship that I don't think many people understand, and I think they did a good job of capturing that emotion. And also it helps to see that the characters aren't emotionless like a lot of military people are portrayed, and sometimes are, because sometimes you have to turn off your emotions in order to survive a situation. But it shows that Maverick himself was not. He had a lot of feelings. Not to make him sound, you know, really oversensitive or, you know, very, like, pansy-like. It's just, they do have emotions, and those are their brothers and their sisters that they're fighting along. I hate to see that Val Kilmer could not perform his role if he did not have, I think it's cancer. I'll put it on the screen. It makes me really sad, but I'm very grateful that he was bold enough to still come on the screen despite that obstacle and challenge. And if you haven't watched the documentary about Val that is on, I believe, Amazon Prime. I really recommend it. Also, this is the only film that I have ever seen 3 times in a movie theater. Nonetheless, it's still not my favorite movie in the world, but like, it's definitely probably in my top 10. Anyways, guys, that wraps up my 2022 top 5 movies of the year. Please comment your top movies of the year. I would love to read them, or read about them, and maybe go watch them for myself. Thank you so much for following along in my life. I'll see you in the next chapter.